Post. It can be said that one of the truly least desired reunions is one for a co-worker who has passed away. It was that sad duty that I returned to the Windy City and pay my respects to the late Ronald J. Updike. It was a large affair. He amassed quite a following when he took over for the Society and Fashion page at the Chicago Sun-Times. I met his spouse at the service. He knew my name. Either Ron lied to him, or he was a very cordial liar himself, saying that Ron had thought the best of me. Gerard seemed to be taking it well. There had been rumors about Ron, but nobody ever treated him bad or different. We already had reasons to be annoyed with him. Ron was the first person to publicly come out at the paper, revealing a courage no one knew he had. I saw Monique. Her time in I.N.S. was brief. She wasn't mad at me with what happened to her uncle, Abe Marblestein, the smiling cobra. She thanked me for advice that had changed her life for the better. Advice I didn't even remember. On a run to the Russo shootout, I told her things could get a little rough out there, maybe even dangerous. It did, and she ran right out into the line of fire, nearly getting herself killed. I threw her into my trunk. For safety. At first, she wanted to kill me, something her uncle could arrange. But later, it helped her realize risking her life or others was not what she wanted to do with her life. Her brief time working around me convinced her people like me needed counseling with their destructive habits and obsessions. She went back to Columbia, got a degree in psychology, and later turned her practice into an impressive social media self-help site. She owed it all to me and my trunk, and offered to help me with any depression or mental issues I may be fighting. I was touched, but I knew if I ever opened up to anyone about the things that I've seen, I'd get moved into a rubber room hotel fast. While milling around at the wake, I heard that timeless voice behind me. "Hello, Carl." It was Tony. Tony! I turn around to see that expression on the face of Anthony Vincenzo, an expression of both nostalgia and regret for where our conversations will usually go. Although I hope no shouting will happen here. I said, "Hello, Tony. Glad to see you could get away from your busy high-rise office in D.C. I'm the boss, Carl, and I can set my own schedule. Besides, Ron was a good man. He certainly earned my respect. You did too, Carl. Just that, you know, the way things went down." Yes, things went down. For me. You see, Tony was the hero. He won all the accolades. He went on to work in a big media job covering all the political scandals and such in our nation's capital, thanks to my story. No thanks, really. Sure, he sends me the odd tip from time to time, uses some pull to get me out of trouble here and there. But given my penchant for trouble, records with the government, and how so many in the business just don't like me, there was no way he or any in a respectable news group or InfoWars could hire me. It's why I had to go solo, set up my own site, sources, and connect up with the fringe groups, mostly outcasts like myself. At this point, I'll take you back 15 years, to the glory days, and what happened that brought the end of our friendship. Mid-February usually means chilly winds, flurries, and slush to the city from the lake. But it was different this time, as it was unseasonably warm. I had been working on a story that seemed right up my alley. Reports of a man-sized winged creature lurking on rooftops, swooping down, chasing cars at night, and flybys scaring the elevated train commuters. Witnesses say it has no head, but large, glowing red eyes, and shag-like fur all over it. Tony was not impressed, saying that it's a hoax and it's just some guy in a costume. So I countered with, "Halloween is coming up, Tony, so it is appropriate news." My car was in the shop, so I was already taking the trains, when I was lucky to spot and get a couple of pictures of what people were seeing. But I got all too close a view as it strafed me before it took off. Something made me a desirable target or something. So I take the L on my way back to the service, hoping the pictures I took will turn out good, when I hear a voice behind me say, "You had your camera on the wrong speed setting, Mr. Kolchak." What? I turned, and I saw a somewhat large, broad-shouldered man with a ridiculous grin on his face, staring at me. He repeated, "You had your camera on the wrong speed, Mr. Kolchak." I looked at my camera. Damn! It was set to lower light and speed. Another blurry mess. I glared at Mr. Smiley and said, "How did you know? And how do you know who I am?" "You could say I'm a very observant man, Mr. Kolchak. I've seen you before. You always pop up covering the big stories, so your fame precedes you." Apart from irritated police chiefs and money-hungry sources, I'm surprised anyone knows me by my trade. Oh, well, thanks for the tip. And I turned to contemplate what excuse for Tony I was going to have to give when I turned this in. "Why are you on this train? Will this be your story?" He was still there, still smiling at me, creepy-like. I thought we were done. "No, just catching a ride since my car's dead. It allows me to mingle with the normal people," I said with my own weird smile right back at him. "Oh, I thought you would be working on the story of an elevated train wreck." Train wreck? What train wreck? Had I missed one heck of a story, not using the police radio in my car? "The one, I believe, caused by the drunken train operator." Have I been scooped? This nut already knows what and why. Must have already hit on the radio stations. Where? Which line? When did it happen? "That must be why I was curious, Mr. Kolchak. You see, it's this line, this operator. It just hasn't happened yet." Hasn't? What? Are you trying to be funny? Making up a story like that? "No, Mr. Kolchak. Tragedies like that seem very serious events, not funny at all. I often wonder why such events aren't preventable, considering that it's already known what is to come." "Oh, so you know something. Who are you? Some informant looking to sell me info?" "No, Mr. Kolchak, I'm not interested in your money, but I do know things you do not. I just wish to share some knowledge, to see how it is used and if it makes a difference. As for who I am, my name is Indrid Cole."